Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It is Friday. It's the end of the week. It's the end of our deck profiles for this week. And I did want to save what I felt was going to be the best for last. Last week we did our the best of Battle City finals. And again, we got out of doing the 3x builds and everything. So now it's time for what would I have done with Gravekeepers had I just had a fresh start? All the cards in the whole speed duel sets are available to me for today's build. So I showed the skill Battle City Bestie, I believe, as the thumbnail. And it's because I still believe this is just generically one of the better skills that just came out. Allows you to apply the following skills. You take no battle damage during your own turns. Makes it very easy to attack into other cards, so you're not really worried about recoil damage, whatever. And then secondly, once per turn during your end phase, if your opponent activated a card or effect during your own turn, you'll get to draw a card. Now, of course, the draw card is going to be during the end phase, which is mild to moderate. This could work, this could not work. But it depends on how many of your options you used up during the turn. This is fine. This is probably my predominant to use skill. That said, Gravekeepers can use a bunch of other skills. One would be Keeper of the Valley. Once per duel, you can discard a card to add a spell trap that mentions Necro Valley from the graveyard to the hand. Apply the following skill. Your graveyard is also unaffected by Necro Valley. This can be useful. Unaffecting your graveyard by Necro Valley does mean that the opponent can Monster Reborn into yours and potentially do shenanigans with your cards. I play this one less often. I'm not going to even entertain the Tomb of the Pharaoh. All it is a much weaker version of Necro Valley. There's no reason to play it while we have these. We're going to go back. We're going to go find Gravekeeper's lot from the first structure decks. Again, Blast from the Past, very similar to how we were using Dragon Caller earlier this week. When do you activate this? You activate it, or you flip it when you activate it. If you lost 1,800 or more life points overall so far during a duel, you can activate the skill during your next draw phase. During that draw phase, search your deck for a Gravekeeper card, reveal it, add to hand, turn this back over. You just don't draw that turn, but you force the draw. So again, this is much better, in my opinion, than Keeper of the Valley. It's just a good card in general. And then last, we're going to, again, going straight back to the beginning, we're going to talk about Millennium Necklace. Again, flip this when you go to activate it. And look at the start of the opponent's turn before they draw. Look at the top 3 cards of their deck and rearrange them any way you like. Skill can only be used once per duel. Good stuff, especially if you just want to mess with your opponents. If you're looking for that Destiny draw effect that feels more on point. Honestly, there's a third reason to play this, and it's just not this build today. My pick, Battle City Bestie. We do have hand traps to worry about in the case of Karibo, technically. They could interact with us. They could interact with flip effects, any monster that gets dealt damage, since all the attribute searchers are available. Battle City Bestie, probably the best pick right now. Moving into the main deck, and just give me a quick second, I'll get you the count. The count for our main deck is going to be 22 cards. And yes, I know, I'm getting on with it. I'm sure somebody's going to go, oh, he just yapped until this. Get over it. It's fine. It's not a YouTube short. I don't know what you wanted. First card we're going to use is I'm going to dig deep. We're going to go back to the first starter deck. I'm going to use 2 copies of Gravekeeper's Assailant. Perfect pick, turns into a 2K once it gets boarded with Valley. While Valley is face up and we declare an attack with this card, we can target a monster that's on our opponent's side of the field face up and change its battle position. We were also given Spirit Reaper in the extra cards of this set, of the Battle City Finals. If your opponent decides they're going to try to Reaper wall, as long as the Reaper starts face up, this will actually trigger the Reaper to destroy itself by its own effect, which again will feed back into our Battle City Bestie. They didn't activate it, but it did activate because it forces itself, so that'll get us a draw 1. It'll also get us a battle replay in the fact that before their attack would land, we're going to go ahead and see the number of monsters on the opponent's side of the field change. Of course, if you decide not to attack with Assailant, you will lose Assailant's attack after that. So it must be continuous for it to be advantageous. Next up, we are also digging out the Gravekeeper's Chief. We're going to play a single copy. Good card, great card. A little risky if you play more than one. only because you can only control one of these on the field at a time. And it is this makes it so our graveyard is unaffected by Necro Valley. So again, everything I was just saying I did not like about Keeper of the Valley sort of works in with the Chief here. When this card is Tribute Summoned, we get to target a Gravekeeper in our graveyard and special summon it back. It's essentially, with Valley, is going to make it so that we essentially just gain a 2,400 point Monarch-sized monster card, and we maybe get to change up what was tributed into something else. So like if we were to flip, grab Spy, flip Spy, grab our Assailant, we could tribute the Spy for the Chief and get back something like Descendant. It can help us raise the power level of the field while being versatile. The rest is all pretty self-explanatory. We're going 2 Commandant for Field Spell Searcher. We're going 2 Descendants for Spot Destruction. We are going single copy of Guard for the Bounce. We are going 2 copies of Recruiter for the Search. Recruiter searching based on the defense of 1,500 or less. Searches everybody except, I want to say, Commandant, Guard, and the next card being our Spies. We're going to be running 2 of those as well. So again, it's very searchable. A lot of this deck thins itself real quick. 22 is not a huge number when dealing with this. Moving into the spells, we're going to get a little bit of tech. We're going to go ahead and grab our 1 MST because, again, of the 1-ofs, this is the one I value the most right now. 2 copies of Valley because, again, this is just great. And because we're going to be doing a lot with our flip effects. And, again, Descendant plays can become very overwhelming when you could search out more cards. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Sol and Luna. So, again, good quick play card. If you haven't read it yet, read it. I'm probably going to talk about it a little bit this Sunday as far as our spotlight. Unless, of course, I've already done, at which point, whatever. Going to traps, we are going to recommend 2 Quaking Mirror Force. Again, this is just a good stop all right now. And 2 Rites of Spirit, which, again, does not matter if Valley is active. This will still allow us to bring back any Gravekeeper from our graveyard. This will also allow you to special summon back the Chief. Star level and attack defense values do not count towards what Rite of Spirit can do. So just real quick, here's the main deck with the preferred skill card. Go ahead, pause notes. I'll be back with the extra and side decks momentarily. Now, starting with our side deck, I think it's very important to have a third copy of Necro Valley, depending on how aggressive your opponent goes after your field spell. Again, luckily for us, Speed Duel is playing off the current field spell rules, not like the prehistorical, like Yugi Boomer rules, where only 1 field spell can exist at a time. So we don't really have to worry about our field spell getting overplayed by an opponent's. But it is good because depending on how aggressive the deck is, depending on what type of deck they're running, we could be facing something with like the X, Y, and Z Union monsters, and they definitely have the ability to take out face-up spells. So kind of important. We are going to tech in 2 copies of Enemy Controller. Again, being modular, having multiple effects, this card finds itself being very useful to us. Either we're going to do very similar to what we did with Assailant and change battle positions with stuff, or we can tribute one of our monsters to take control of one of our opponent's monsters for the turn. The opponent's monster must be face up in order to be targeted by this card. Again, until the ban list comes in and wrecks this, we are going to carry a 3rd Quaking. And then we're going to have 2 copies Waking the Dragon. Because again, if it gets destroyed and is in the graveyard or is banished and in the banishment pile, this is still going to activate with Valley. So we can still go ahead and special out some fusion monster cards. So again, I'm going to choose like what I think are the 6 best. I love Arcanonite Joker. Again, we're playing spells, traps, and monsters, so he's going to get a lot of play. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. No longer have to worry about whether or not this has priced people out since it was included as a common in this set. Cyber End for the big piercing damage at the end. Dragoon for the trick shot self-destructs on the opponent's cards with the potential burn damage. The Ojama King, again, it's going to make it very hard for the opponent to play monsters. They have no zones. And, of course, the Thousand Eyes Restrict. Just being one of the technically best, weird, reversal pivot cards that one can play. So this is, again, this is my deck. Um, on top of this, I believe in this deck so much, I'm actually going to buy a second set of all the cards that go into this deck, so that I can always have this deck built from this point forward. And this will be the first Speed Duel deck where I've done that. So if anybody's like, do you really think this is going to do any good at locals? Yeah, I do think it will. I think that there's a lot of great stuff that lends itself to playing in this deck. You guys can play Allure of Darkness. The only non-dark is going to be the Commandant. And I think the joke there is because he's the field spell grabber, so since he grabs the field, he must be Earth. They did not change that in this print. It's not like Cypher Soldier, which used to be called Kinetic Soldier, where it bounced between being, I think it was an Earth and a Light attribute a couple times before just straight up getting a name swap. This is probably my favorite version of Gravekeepers currently. Again, this may change with the ban list. This may change if Konami comes back from hiatus in 26. So we'll see. But for now, this is my current go-to. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope to see you guys on Sunday for another Spotlight. But if I don't, you guys have a lovely weekend. Do the things, don't do the things. Support the channel if we made you smile today, whatever. But go out and enjoy yourself and take care of yourself. See you next time, guys. Later.